All right, welcome back to the final reaction, and I have a video for you today that I was not planning on making just a few hours ago. So, as you can tell, and as you know from the title of the video, I'm a huge Superman fan, and I'm talking about Superman and Lois episode 1, the pilot episode. And I'm not ready to say that I'm going to review every single episode, but I love Superman. He's my favorite comic book character. He's my favorite superhero character in the movies. Christopher Reeve is what really sold me on Superman when I was a kid. And love Lois and Clark. Love Smallville. Love Man of Steel. The other movies are okay, right? But I was super excited for this after I saw the trailer. It was the first video on this new channel. Check out that reaction if you want to. When I saw the trailer, I was, okay, I'm very impressed. I will preface this with saying I have not watched the other CW shows. After Smallville, that was basically it. I have not seen the Arrowverse at all. I've seen 2 episodes of Supergirl, the first 2 episodes. I have not seen Batwoman. I have not seen a lot of these, and I definitely have not seen this Superman played by Tyler Hoechlin in any of the Supergirl episodes at all. So I'm coming into this with that kind of resume, even though I'm a huge Superman fan. I think Superman is the best character for different reasons. And I understand people's complaints, but I don't really care. That's just how I feel about it. And besides Batman and Spider-Man, I am shocked. I am shocked that there's so many other characters in film that are liked a lot more than him. I mean, Iron Man, you know, he's a big character in the comics, but he's not their biggest character of Marvel. But he's been done so well in the movies. And Robert Downey Jr. has brought him to life that, anyways, Superman should be revered much higher than he is. And for those of you that are true Superman fans, and there's a lot out there, there really is. I'm not trying to say that I'm part of a minority. There's a lot of true Superman fans out there. If you're a true Superman fan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We're tired of hearing about how Superman's boring, even though it's funny in this episode. His own son mentions that, which made me laugh. We don't want to hear that you can't make a Superman movie that's worthwhile. We don't want to hear about all the nonsense and the junk we've been hearing about, and people have been stomping on Superman for at least the last decade and a half. But I watched this show. I watched this first episode a few days after it came out. And I just had to talk about it. There's going to be spoilers I'm going to mention, but I'll mention that near the end. The first part will be spoiler-free. So if you've not seen it yet and you're curious how the show is, stick around for a few minutes and I'll give you my thoughts about it, and I'll let you know when the spoilers are coming. I went into the show excited, optimistic, but I don't have the best opinion of CW shows, and I like shows to be a little more gritty. I like shows to be a little more grounded. And from what I hear, from what I see on little clips here and there, CW doesn't really go that route, and it's fine. If you're a huge CW fan, you know, I love you either way. But that's just where I'm coming from. And so I came in, and I was a little leery of this show. And it starts off with, you know, Superman. He's doing Superman things, all right? Right at the bat, we know that he's Superman. And so my thought process as I'm watching this show is I'm like, okay, it's good for about the first 10 minutes. And then the next 10 minutes, because it's an hour-long episode, which I love. The next 10 minutes, I'm thinking, hey, this is actually above average. And then for me, just for me, the last 35 to 40 minutes, this show went up a whole nother notch. This show was amazing, in my opinion. And again, I'm a huge Superman fan, but absolutely amazing. Okay, so there's my opinion. I love this first episode. I think there's so many amazing things about this first episode. This show is developed by Greg Berlanti and Todd Helbing. I saw Jeff Johns' name there in the producer list, and I thought, okay, I don't really have the most faith in Jeff Johns, but okay. This episode, can I see who it's directed by? Let's see. Directed by Lee Toland Krieger. Teleplay by Todd Helbing, and the story by Berlanti and Helbing. And it got a pretty nice pop. It got almost a 2 million viewers on that first episode. This show is fantastic. And I hope they didn't put all their eggs into the pilot basket. If you want to watch the show and wonder, I heard reports that HBO Max money and they really put a lot of money into it. If they did, that's great. That's not what wowed me. The special effects is not what wowed me. There was some good special effects, don't get me wrong, but they did not wow me. Did not come up cinematic to me. But the show itself, honestly, to me, played like a movie. It was cinematic, in my opinion, in different ways. You have the main characters, Superman and Lois. They have to sell it. And for me, they didn't sell it in the first few seconds when he's doing the recap of his life. But after that, I was sold. Lois Lane has been done wrong so many times, in my opinion. It's just my opinion. It's a tough character to crack, I feel. And we didn't get a lot of Lois Lane, but I really, really liked what we got from the actress Elizabeth Tulloch. I don't know her. Tulloch. I don't know her at all. Don't know her work. I thought she did a really good job in this first episode. We'll see. I thought Tyler Hoechlin was amazing. I thought he was the perfect blend of Superman and Clark. He has his style of Superman and Clark is where he doesn't separate them like Christopher Reeve did, which I love that. But he puts them together like Dean Cain did in Lois and Clark, which I absolutely really like that. How, they're so similar. They're different. And they have jokes in here about how dad can't put the Christmas tree without falling off the ladder. So you have this stumbling, bumbling, and you see some of that in this episode. But the personality, they're not so different, which in my opinion, that's how I can see how it is. He does such a great job in the writing for him. Let me start with Superman. The writing for him, the way that they've developed his character in this first episode, I was really impressed with. And they did it in a way that I see Superman being. I really do. Superman loves the people. He will do anything to save the cat out of the tree. He really will. In my opinion, that's how Superman is. And he's a Boy Scout. He really is. I know Henry Cavill got his own style to it, and Man of Steel and Superman versus Batman versus Superman. I get it. But I see Superman as someone that cares way too much. Doesn't worry what people think about him, but worries if he's doing the right job. And now you bring the element of having two kids into the picture, and that's what makes this show amazing, is the family dynamic and the family conflict. The conflict that having two teenage sons who couldn't be any different from each other, but still care about each other. That dynamic, to me, is what really sells this show. And I'll get to those actors in a second. But Tyler Hoechlin, to me, and I'm saying his name wrong, I'm sorry. Hoechlin, I'm not sure. He was able to portray a Superman that had been around for a while. He's got two teenage sons. He's been married for probably almost 2 decades. He pulled that off so well, where he cared so much and he worried, am I being a good enough dad? Am I a good enough husband? Am I a good enough Superman? I got my job. I got all these different things. And when he came home from work and he had to take care of some family and put out those kind of fires after doing his day job and his Superman job, and then his mom's calling and giving him some advice on how he can be a better dad, I felt it, because I feel like this show really understands what it's like to be the head of a household, head of household, him and Lois, what it feels like to be a teenage son where you don't feel like you stack up to your brother, or vice versa. Or I thought it really, really got the family dynamic well, even the husband and wife dynamic, where, I mean, there's just so much. I don't want to get into too much spoilers, but I thought he did a great job. I thought he portrayed it. I'm completely sold as him as Superman. And I did love the nod of the original S when they were doing the background story of him developing into who he was. And it's the first 2 minutes of the episode, how he had the animated version from the 1940s, 1950s. I thought that was really cool. I thought that was a nice nod. And then he has a traditional S throughout the rest on his suit. When he says, my mom made me this suit. I thought that was great. That reminded me of Dean Cain, actually. So Lois was great. But these two sons, they're the ones that are going to be driving this show. They are. If you don't like them, if you don't like the actors, if you don't like the characters, you're not going to like this show. I don't watch the teeny bopper shows. I don't watch those kind of shows. I don't watch Riverdale. I don't watch Gossip Girl. And nothing against those shows. It's just not my cup of tea. But these guys really sold it for me. So you got Jordan Elsass as Jonathan Kent, which is the son's name, not the dad, Jonathan Kent. And then Alex Garfin, who plays Jordan Kent. Jordan's playing Jonathan. Alex is playing Jordan. That's kind of funny. These two guys crush it. They absolutely crush it in their own way. Jordan Elsass is amazing. He is so good at the role that he has, where he's like the golden boy, but he's not too arrogant. He plays that very, very well, but he's also just kind of a cool guy who can do nothing wrong. And then you got Alex Garfin, who's just like that black sheep, who just literally has the brown hair, who just feels like he doesn't fit in. And I guess that was some spoilers. Sorry about that. But these guys really push it forward. You have other characters in there. They introduce. Well, I'll get to that in a little bit. But the actors, I'm completely on board with. They do a fantastic job. But it's the story. It's the idea that Superman's struggling with being a father, feeling like he's disconnecting from his kids because there's those teenage years and they're moving on to relationships and all these kind of stuff, and he's losing them. Where his wife is superstar Lois Lane, and he's like not even second fiddle to her at work, but fourth or fifth. He's got all these different struggles, and oh, by the way, he's got a hectic, demanding job of being Superman and trying to save different things. Okay, so you've heard my opinion. I think this show is definitely worth watching the first episode. If you're not into it, I get it. You're probably not going to like the rest of the show. But if you're into this first episode, then we are going to strap ourselves in because this is going to be a great experience, I'm hoping. There's a lot of pilots that are great, and the rest of the show does not work out. Now I'm going to jump into some spoilers. Okay? You got to have Superman save some people. You do. For me to believe in Superman, I've got to see him. I don't care if it's the same shtick. I got to see it. And we got kind of the same shtick where you had the nuclear plant, reaching those high temperature levels, and it's going to be disastrous for the entire town, entire city. And he goes out to the water, and he freezes the water just like Superman 3. I liked that nod. They changed it up enough. It wasn't the same thing. He brings in this huge iceberg. And the funny thing is that he's doing that, and it's melting, and it's like raining on him, and it's cooling things down, and chunks of ice are breaking off and hitting all this kind of stuff. I'm thinking, that's going to do some serious damage. Why didn't you just blow and maybe freeze I'm not a nuclear physicist. I don't know. I just thought that was kind of funny. But I liked that nod. So this show is about these boys and Superman trying to figure out how can he be a better dad for these boys. How can he be a good Superman, but even a better father? And they get to a situation where his mom dies, and they have this farm. They can sell it, or they can purchase it because it was on a reverse mortgage, so it wasn't completely paid off. And they're looking at how their sons are being affected in the city as opposed to out in Smallville. If you watch the show Smallville, and I like how this show kind of made some nods toward that, where there's a lot of weird stuff that happened when we were kids, because they bring Lana Lang, which is awesome. She's got a husband, some guy named Kyle, and it's not Fordham. Brings in Kyle. They have 2 daughters. The one daughter does a fantastic job. Where is she at? Her name is Indy Navarrete as Sarah Cushing. She's fantastic. She is a great actress. I've never seen her anything before. She's fantastic. I'm glad she's in the show. She's going to add a lot of depth to it. But in this episode, you have these boys who never realized their dad's Superman. And this is the thing that's going to tick off a lot of people if you're not a true Superman fan. They don't believe he's Superman, even when he tells them he's Superman at one point. He takes off the glasses all slowly. And I can just hear the jokes coming in. How are those glasses going to make a difference? How are those... You don't understand. It doesn't matter how silly that whole gimmick is. It doesn't matter how silly that disguise is. That's what you have to accept as a Superman fan, is that when he puts on those glasses, the people that are looking at him, not magically, but realistically, they see something different. Okay, there's a lot more to those glasses than just a pair of glasses for me or you. He takes those off, and they look at him. They look at him past the glasses, and they're like, holy cow. And then he picks up that was such a cool scene. I had to see it twice. Picks up the truck and shows them who he is. And, of course, they react the way you would think they would. They freak out. They get in a few accidents. No harm comes to them at one point, so they're wondering, oh, man, which one's got the powers? The black sheep child, he's going to lose his mind if his golden boy brother's got the powers. And it's cool how that whole thing works out and that whole dynamic. And there's a part where we find out that it is the black sheep kid that's got the powers. Laser eyes remind me of Brightburn. I was like, uh-oh, here we go. Where he's obviously struggling with some new powers and not sure what to do and feeling so out of place. And my dad's now an alien and my mom's a human. Like, this is so weird. There's a point where he storms off because he just doesn't know what to do. And you would just want Superman, you just want Clark Kent to go after him and say, hey, I've been there. I know exactly how you feel. And he doesn't. And as a father, I completely connected to that. Until you have kids, until your kids start to grow up and they get personalities, you don't understand how hard it is sometimes to connect to your kids. You think it's so easy and you try so hard, but sometimes it can be difficult. And I love that he did not run to him right away, because that was a real reaction. He has lost connection with that son already. And it's not as easy as saying, well, son, I have powers too. I thought that was beautiful. Eventually he goes out there and he does talk to him. But that was, for me, that was a really powerful moment, because I said, wow, the people running this show actually understand family. There's a part where Lana's dad, General Lane, he knows about Superman, married his daughter. He knows about it. He has like a little pager or whatever that magically, or some kind of sensor thing. I didn't understand the science behind that, where Clark can hear it and know where that help is, where that beeper's at. He comes to the house and he's talking to his daughter about how she needs to let him just be Superman and stop holding him back and blah, blah, blah. And Superman, he looks at Superman like to join his side, and he's like, I think she's right. And he gets so frustrated and so angry, and he wants to yell at Clark, but he's Superman, so he yells at his daughter, and he's like, I told you shouldn't have married him. I told you shouldn't have done that. He is Superman. He's not Clark Kent. He's Superman. And you watch the show and you probably think, man, this Superman's a wuss. He just cowers down to whatever his wife wants. If you guys are married, right? If you're a married man, you understand completely that situation. And it's not just a married man. It's just a spouse in general. You care about your spouse's feelings. Their problems become your problems. Their fears become your fears. And if your spouse does not want you to go full Superman mode all the time, if she needs your help, and she's Lois Lane, for crying out loud, she's got a busy schedule too. I love the fact that he took her side and he listened to what she said. That was beautiful. That's a guy who's been married for about 15 years. 100%. This show understands family, and that's why I love this show so much. It's got Superman, which I love, and he's believable. It's got Lana Lane. It's got Lois Lane. It's got, at the very end, Captain Luthor. Holy cow, that was a huge... I should have seen it because of the suit, for crying out loud, but he had like a Halo mask on. And he kept talking about his planet being destroyed, It was great. It was absolutely fantastic. I love this first episode. I can talk more and more about it, but I think those are my biggest points. I'm completely sold. I'm completely all in for this show. I think it could be something special. It reminded me so much of Smallville as far as the attention that they put into that show. The time and effort they put into make that a show, not just a Superman show. We're going to make so many ratings each week. No, let's actually make this a show that has something to say. Absolutely love it. So excited. I want to know, what are your guys' thoughts on Superman and Lois? Are you as excited as I am? If you're a true Superman fan, how did you feel about it? If you're not a Superman fan and you watched it, how did you feel about it? For CW, the acting was more than above average. I think the two young boys, or not two young boys, they're teenage boys. They're in high school. I thought they were great. I thought they did a great acting job. Fantastic. Like I said, Indy Navarrete, fantastic. I'm super excited. I love this first episode. I want to know what you guys think. Don't forget to let me know. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Tell me your thoughts. I would love to interact with you and hear your thoughts so we can talk about it and nerd out. And with all that being said, until next time, adios.